I can see them up ahead. A man and a woman. They have trespassed on sacred land. No doubt they have come to steal the treasure my family has been guarding since the time of the shogunate and the samurai. I am not a samurai myself, but I have been trained in the arts of ninjutsu by my grandfather. I clutch my wakizashi as the two intruders draw near, and when the time is right, I pounce from the bush I have been hiding in and ready myself to face death. You may think this sounds like something straight out of a fictional Japanese ninja movie, but that was my actual life not too long ago. My name is Hayami, and my story starts off rather sad. When I was just a little girl, my parents used to live a little way up into the mountains, and most weekends, they would drive into the town to take me to this amazing soft play kiddie park place. I loved it so very much and would ask to go there every weekend. I guess it must have been cheap, because there were very rare occasions my mama and papa would say no. I think they must have enjoyed it just as much as I did. One weekend, as we were driving down the mountain road, a truck was coming up from the opposite direction. The driver was not paying attention and veered a little way onto our side of the road. My papa panicked, and we ended up sliding all over the place. Mama was screaming, Papa was yelling, and I was too stunned to do or say anything. Then the car broke through the barrier and tumbled down the side of the mountain. We did not tumble far, but it was far enough that my mama and papa were severely injured. Sadly, my mama did not make it, and my papa went into a coma. I was so lucky, thanks to the added protection of the car seat, and I came out of it with a few scratches from the glass that was flying around. While at the hospital, the Child Guidance Center came to visit me and told me that my mama had died and my papa was in a coma. My only other living relative was my grandfather, who we called Sofu. Sofu was my papa's papa. All I knew of my Sofu was that he was a strange man, and he and my papa rarely ever spoke. They had some sort of falling out that my papa never spoke of. I think I must have seen Sofu all of once in my life before now. So when he came to get me from the hospital, he was very much a stranger to me, and I did not know what to expect. I was scared, confused, and trying to come to terms with my mama's passing and my papa being in a coma. I did see him before I left the hospital and distinctly remember him looking like he was simply sleeping. I wanted to run to him and wake him up, but Sofu pulled me away and carried me to the car.
It is not good to disturb him while he is healing.
Will he wake up soon?
Maybe when he is ready. Come, we have a long drive ahead of us.
Sofu lived at the very top of the mountains, nestled deep within a forest that almost felt like we had traveled to a different world. We were so far out of the way of anything, and it was really peaceful. Where I had lived with my mama and papa, we could hear the traffic on the highway and the passing trains. Now and then, you would hear a plane passing high overhead, but here, near the top of the mountains, it was so peaceful. Back then, I could not appreciate the beauty of the land around me. I was too busy grieving for my mama. Sofu did what he could to comfort me, but he was still pretty much a stranger to me. After the funeral of my mama, Sofu took me into the woods. We must have walked for hours, not saying a word, just trudging along a path that was so overgrown I could barely see it. Luckily, Sofu knew where he was going. At least, I hoped he did. We eventually came to a little 3-tiered pagoda shrine. Sofu sat on its steps, and we ate lunch as I marveled at the structure. It must have been hundreds of years old, and looked to have been fairly well looked after, save for the steps and eaves on one side, which looked like they had only just survived a fire. This is our family's legacy. For generations, we have stood centennial over this shrine, protecting it from those who would steal what's inside. He took me inside, where I saw hundreds, if not thousands, of prayer ribbons. Even more as we walked the stairs to the top, where there was a rather beaten-looking box with a slit in the top.
This is the treasure we guard. I have kept it safe from would-be thieves since I was your age. Now that you are here, it is time to start your training so that you may take my place.
I didn't know what to say. Sofu made out like I had some great destiny to fulfill. I had only just come to terms with my mama's death. Now I had this to deal with? The next day, my training began before the sun had risen. I was only a little girl, but Sofu did not go easy on me. He pushed me to be fast and strong, to always be mindful of my duty and understand what is at stake, though he never actually told me why we were the ones responsible for guarding the shrine. He not once let me look in the box either. The years went by. I got stronger, faster, and deadly with a katana. Sofu taught me the art of ninjutsu and pushed me until I could run through autumn leaves without making a single sound, climb to the top of a tree in seconds, and best him in kendo. When I was 17, nearly 10 years since my mama's passing, I was allowed to go out on patrol all by myself. It was a thrilling experience to say the least. Running around the dark forest, listening out for intruders, and being prepared to fight at a moment's notice. I must have gone out on so many patrols before I finally got to see some action. I might have thought the ordeal was strange if I had not been blinded by my excitement. The thieves did very little to hide themselves. They were very loud and brandished torches like they were nothing more than hiking through the forest or something. I shadowed them for about a mile or two and could hear them speaking.
It should be up here somewhere. Are you sure? We've been walking for hours. Yes, of course. At least that's what I was told. How reliable is your source? Well, he is from this area. I think he would know if there was a shrine around here. What's so special about this shrine?
I did not wait to hear any more. Confirming that they had come to rob the shrine of its precious treasure, I pounced from the bush, brandishing my knife. The look on their faces makes me chuckle to this day, even knowing what I know now. They screamed in horror and all but rolled themselves back down the mountain. I was so pleased with myself, I immediately ran and told Sofu. He was very proud and we enjoyed sake together, though I only had a small amount, seeing as it was my first time drinking the stuff. Thinking I had finally found peace in my life, I went about my duties like a good and respectful granddaughter. For months, I patrolled the forest, completely unaware of the dark clouds that gathered about the mountaintop. I scared off more would-be thieves and kept the sacred family treasure safe. Then, one day, Sofu gets a call. His face looked very stern and sullen. When he hung up the phone, he looked at me.
Mago, come listen. I have some exciting news.
Then why do you look so sad, Sofu?
Because I fear our time together may be coming to an end.
Your Tosama is finally awake. I couldn't believe it. It had been 10 years, and I had never thought to hear my papa's voice again. Sofu rushed me to the hospital. I don't really remember much about the journey, only that I cried the entire way there, and when I saw him again, my heart burst and I ran to him. He held me so tight.
My little Saru, safe and well.
Yes, Sofu looked after me. Papa, why didn't you tell me about the shrine and our family's destiny? He looked at me with no small amount of confusion. I looked over at Sofu, but he was not there. He had not come into the room. Even after everything, Sofu and Papa still could not put aside their bitter feud. What's wrong, Papa?
I will show you.
With it having been so many years, Papa had lost the house, his car, and pretty much everything he owned. So he had come to stay with me and Sofu. He didn't see much of Sofu in those months as my papa got his strength back. I assumed he was keeping an eye out for thieves. Papa took me through the forest, along the same overgrown path Sofu had taken me all those years ago. He led me up to the pagoda shrine and stood staring at it for a long moment.
It is all because of this. Otu-sama is right when he told you that our family was charged with protecting this shrine, but he missed out the part about how we are nothing more than caretakers. The government pays him a small sum to look after the shrine and keep it functional for tourists. One summer, some tourists decided to set up camp here, and their campfire went out of control and burned all of this. Luckily, they put the fire out before it could do any real damage, but Otu-sama was furious and took it upon himself to never let anyone near the shrine again.
I was stunned. I didn't want to believe any of it. What about the sacred relic in the box at the top?
Come, I will show you.
Papa took me to the top of the pagoda and showed me the box with the slit in the top. When he opened it, I saw a few small coins.
It's a donations box.
My heart broke into a million pieces and I ran from the shrine. I ran to look for Sofu so he could explain, but he was gone. All that was left was a note.
My dearest Magu, by now your papa would have told you the truth of what the shrine really is. I am sorry I misled you. I will understand if you do not wish to forgive me, but I hope you still love me as I love you. Sofu.
I never saw Sofu again, and now me and my father look after the shrine as it was meant to be. The overgrown path was cleared up so tourists could find their way. The burnt wood was replaced with new wood, and to my surprise, the legend of the ninja ghost haunting the forest became a main attraction.